December 28, 1944. Staff Sergeant Michael Torres has not eaten in 9 days, and he can feel his body consuming itself. His stomach stopped growling on day 4. His muscles started cramping on day 6. On day 8, his vision began tunneling, his hands shaking uncontrollably whenever he tried to stand. Now, on day 9, sitting in a freezing Belgian barn with his wrists bound to a wooden post, watching 18 Wehrmacht soldiers eat hot stew and fresh bread 30 feet away, Torres realizes something that the Germans have not yet understood. Starvation does not make a man weak. It makes him desperate. And a desperate man with nothing left to lose is the most dangerous creature on earth. But this is getting ahead of our story. Let's talk about what happens to the human body when it stops receiving food. The science is brutal and precise. For the first 24 hours, your body burns through its glycogen stores, the quick energy reserves stored in your liver and muscles. You feel hungry, irritable, but functional. By day 2, your body enters ketosis, beginning to break down fat for energy. You feel weak, lightheaded, but still capable of thought and movement. By day 3, your body starts consuming muscle tissue to maintain critical organ function. Your strength begins to deteriorate measurably. By day 5, your immune system starts shutting down. Your body temperature regulation fails. You feel cold all the time, even in moderate conditions. By day 7, your cognitive function declines. Decision-making becomes impaired. Memory suffers. By day 9, the average human being has lost 15 to 20% of their body weight, primarily from muscle mass and organ tissue. Your body is quite literally eating itself to survive. The Wehrmacht understands this. German military doctrine includes detailed studies on prisoner interrogation techniques, and controlled starvation is one of the most effective methods they've identified. A starved prisoner becomes compliant. He loses the physical strength to resist. He loses the mental clarity to maintain operational security. He becomes willing to trade information for food. It's a mathematical certainty, proven through thousands of interrogations across occupied Europe. The formula is simple. Deprive a prisoner of food for 7 to 10 days while providing minimal water to prevent death. Then offer food in exchange for intelligence. The success rate exceeds 90%. The Wehrmacht has used this technique successfully in North Africa, Italy, and France. And in December 1944, in a barn outside Bastogne, they used it on Staff Sergeant Michael Torres. Michael Anthony Torres is 27 years old, and before the war, he was a boxer. Not a professional fighter, though he fought professionally for 2 years in New York City under the name the Bronx Hammer. He compiled a record of 14 wins and 3 losses, all 14 wins by knockout, before a detached retina in his left eye ended. His career in 1941. The army took him anyway because America needed soldiers more than it needed perfect vision, and Torres could still see well enough to shoot a rifle and follow orders. What Torres learned in the ring, what 4 years of amateur boxing and 2 years of professional fighting taught him, is that pain is temporary, but hunger is forever. A punch to the face hurts for a moment. A body shot makes you want to quit. But hunger, real hunger, the kind that comes from cutting weight before a fight, that stays with you. Torres fought at 168 pounds. To make weight, he would cut from 185 pounds in the week before a fight. 7 days of near starvation, living on water and celery, running in rubber suits to sweat out the pounds. He would step on the scale at 168 pounds, barely able to stand, his muscles cramping, his vision blurred. And then, after weighing in, he would eat. He would consume 4,000 calories in 6 hours, rehydrating and refueling, and by the time he stepped into the ring the next evening, he would weigh 178 pounds, 10 pounds heavier than his opponent, and he would knock that opponent unconscious within 5 rounds. What Torres learned is that the human body can recover from starvation faster than most people understand. If you know what you're doing, if you eat the right foods in the right order, you can go from barely functional to combat ready in 6 hours. The Wehrmacht knows how to starve a man. They've studied it. They've practiced it. They've perfected it. But they've never starved a professional boxer who knows exactly how to refuel his body for violence. And that's the mistake they're making with Torres. Torres was captured on December 19, 1944, during the Battle of the Bulge. His squad was overrun at a crossroads outside Bastogne. 7 Americans were killed in the first 2 minutes. Torres took shrapnel in his left leg and a rifle butt to the head when he tried to surrender. He woke up in a Wehrmacht truck, hands bound, surrounded by prisoners. They drove him to a farmhouse being used as a temporary interrogation center. That was 9 days ago. The interrogation started on December 20th. A Wehrmacht intelligence captain, whose name Torres never learned, asked questions about American troop positions, artillery locations, and command structure. Torres gave his name, rank, and serial number. The captain slapped him. Torres repeated his name, rank, and serial number. The captain ordered him tied to a post in the barn. No food. 1 cup of water per day. They would resume questioning when Torres was ready to cooperate. For 9 days, Torres has watched the Wehrmacht guards eat 3 meals per day. Breakfast is usually bread and coffee. Lunch is soup or stew. Dinner is meat, potatoes, and bread. The guards eat 30 feet away from where Torres is tied, close enough that he can smell the food, but far enough that he cannot reach it. It's psychological warfare, and Torres understands exactly what they're doing. They're breaking him down, softening him up, making him willing to trade anything for a meal. What the Germans don't know is that Torres is counting. He's counting guards. He's counting their routines. He's counting the times they check his bindings. On day 1, they checked every 2 hours. By day 5, they were checking twice a day. By day 8, once a day. Complacency is setting in. The Germans believe Torres is too weak to be a threat. They're wrong. Torres has also been working the rope binding his wrists. The post he's tied to is old wood, splintered and rough. For 9 days, 8 to 10 hours per day. Torres has been rubbing the rope against a sharp edge of the post, sawing back and forth millimetre by millimetre. The motion is so small that a guard would have to be staring directly at his hands to notice it. Nobody is staring at his hands. They're watching his face, looking for signs of broken spirit, waiting for him to beg. Torres never begs. On the morning of December 28th, day 9, Torres feels the rope give way. The fibres have frayed to the breaking point. He could snap the rope with one hard pull. He doesn't pull. Not yet. He keeps his hands behind his back, pretending to still be bound, and he watches the guards. There are 18 Wehrmacht soldiers using the barn as their quarters. They work in shifts. 6 awake at all times, 12 sleeping. The shift changes at 0600 hours, 1200 hours, and 1800 hours. At 1200 hours, during the shift change, there's a 15-minute window when all 18 soldiers are awake and gathered in the barn for the midday meal. That's when they're most vulnerable. That's when Torres will move. But first, he needs to eat. Because Torres knows something the Germans don't know. He knows that if he can consume 2,000 calories of the right foods in the right order, his body will recover enough strength to fight in approximately 4 to 6 hours. He knows this because he's done it a dozen times before weigh-ins, and the Germans, considerate as always, have left their food supplies in wooden crates stacked against the barn wall, 15 feet from where Torres is tied. At 11:45 hours on December 28th, Torres makes his move. The guards are preparing for the shift change and the midday meal. 12 soldiers are waking up, stretching, pulling on boots. 6 soldiers are lighting fires in the cooking area, preparing stew. The barn is full of movement and noise. Nobody is watching the starving American prisoner tied to a post in the corner. Torres snaps the rope with one hard pull. His hands come free. The pain in his shoulders, locked in the same position for 9 days, is excruciating. He doesn't care. He moves low and fast, staying in the shadows along the barn wall, moving toward the food crates. The first crate contains bread. hard black. Bread, the kind German soldiers eat in the field. Torres grabs 4 loaves and moves to the next crate. Cheese. He grabs 2 wheels. Next crate. Sausage. He grabs 3 links. He doesn't have time to be selective. He's loading his arms with as many calories as he can carry, and then he's moving toward the barn's back entrance, a small door used for livestock that leads to an adjacent storage shed. Nobody sees him. He reaches the door, slips through, and closes it behind him. The storage shed is dark and cold, filled with hay bales and farming equipment. Torres crawls behind a stack of hay bales and begins to eat. He doesn't chew. He tears chunks of bread and stuffs them in his mouth, swallowing as fast as he can. He bites into the cheese. He devours the sausage. His stomach, shrunken after 9 days of starvation, cramps violently. He ignores it. He forces himself to eat. 2,000 calories. That's the goal. He estimates he's consuming roughly 500 calories of bread, 600 calories of cheese, 900 calories of sausage. 2,000 total. Enough. He finishes eating in 8 minutes. Then he waits. At 12:15 hours, the Wehrmacht guards discover that their prisoner is missing. Torres hears shouting from inside the barn. Boots on wooden floors. Orders being barked in German. The guards are searching the barn. They're searching the farmhouse. They're not searching the storage shed yet, because they believe a starving prisoner couldn't have gone far. They're wrong. Torres waits in the darkness behind the hay bales, feeling his body process the food. His stomach cramps. His blood sugar spikes. His hands shake violently as adrenaline and calories flood his system. This is the dangerous period, the window between eating and recovering. For the next 2 hours, he will feel worse than he did while starving. His body is in shock, trying to restart systems that have been shutting down for 9 days. By 1400 hours, Torres feels different. The cramping eases. The shaking slows. His vision clears. His muscles begin responding to commands. It's not full recovery, not even close, but it's enough. It's enough to fight. At 14:30 hours, a Wehrmacht soldier opens the storage shed door and enters with a flashlight. He's alone. Mistake. Torres moves from behind the hay bales, silent as death, and breaks the soldier's neck with his bare hands. The soldier drops without a sound. Torres takes his Kar 98K rifle, his ammunition, his knife, and his canteen. Now he's armed. The next soldier enters the shed 3 minutes later, calling for his comrade. Torres shoots him in the chest. The sound of the rifle shot brings the others. They come in 1s and 2s, rushing into the dark shed without thinking, and Torres kills them systematically. The confined space works in his favor. The Germans can't maneuver. They can't use their numbers. They funnel through the doorway 1 or 2 at a time, and Torres shoots each one. By 14:50 hours, 11 Wehrmacht soldiers are dead in and around the storage shed. The remaining 7 are in the barn, barricaded, calling for reinforcements on a field radio. Torres circles around to the barn's main entrance. He can hear them inside, panicking, arguing. He finds a jerry can of gasoline near the barn door. Wehrmacht vehicles always carry extra fuel. He pours the gasoline along the base of the barn wall, lights it with matches from the dead soldier's pocket, and walks away. The barn is old wood. It catches fast. The Wehrmacht soldiers have 2 choices, burn or run. 6 of them run. Torres shoots 5. The 6th escapes into the woods. The remaining soldier stays in the barn. Torres hears him screaming as the flames consume the structure. 16 Wehrmacht soldiers died. 1 escaped. Torres takes a German motorcycle parked near the farmhouse and rides east toward American lines. He reaches the 101st Airborne Division perimeter at 1700 hours. He's lost 32 pounds. His body will take months to fully recover, but he's alive. The after-action report filed by the 101st Airborne Division on December 29, 1944, documents the recovery of Staff Sergeant Michael Torres and his account of killing 16 Wehrmacht soldiers after escaping from a 9-day starvation interrogation. The intelligence officer who debriefs Torres doesn't believe him at first. The story sounds impossible. A man starved for 9 days shouldn't be capable of walking, much less fighting. Torres tells the officer about his boxing career, about cutting weight, about the metabolic science of rapid refueling. The officer writes it down, but remains skeptical. 3 days later, a patrol investigates the burned barn. They find the bodies. 16 Wehrmacht soldiers, exactly as Torres described. 11 shot, 5 burned. The patrol also finds Torres's identification tags, still tied to the post where he was held prisoner. The Germans never even bothered to remove them. The army awarded Torres the Silver Star in January 1945. The citation mentions exceptional courage and combat effectiveness while escaping enemy captivity. It doesn't mention the 9 days of starvation or the fact that Torres killed 16 men after eating stolen bread and cheese. Those details appear in a classified after-action report that isn't declassified until 2004. Torres survives the war. He returned to New York in 1945 and never boxed professionally again. The detached retina in his left eye, combined with malnutrition damage from his captivity, ends any possibility of returning to the ring. He worked as a boxing trainer for 40 years, teaching young fighters at a gym in the Bronx. When students ask him about the war, he tells them the same thing every time. Hunger is temporary. It feels like forever, but it's temporary. Your body can survive things you think will kill you. The question isn't whether you can endure. The question is what you'll do when you get the chance to eat.